Hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, whatever time it is, wherever you are. I am coming to you today to talk about what's going on. So I'm sure most of you know this and have been following this, that we've been having super extreme solar weather for the last 2 weeks, for sure. There's something very, very different about the energy now. The energy is always shifting and always changing, but the amplification, which is coming from the sun and also coming in not only from this universe and from this multiverse, but also from this omniverse right now, is incredibly strong. And all of that energy from the universe, from the multiverse, and from the omniverse is trickling in from all of the planets and also directly through the sun as the portal that really shifts this planet in a very dynamic way. So the intensity of solar activity in the last 2 weeks has been strangely more off the charts than even the last time I spoke to you, and it's been a couple of weeks since I've been here. The shifting of the sun is doing many things to many people, and it's doing things to the establishment, and it's doing things to things, and it's doing things to all of us on an individual level. It's doing things to the planet, to every planet in our solar system, etc., etc. So there's just a lot going on. And I'm having so much difficulty with this camera and this phone today. It's really face heavy and it keeps wanting to fall down. So the energy right now at the moment is stronger and more expansive than anything we've felt in this lifetime. And I would say anything that we've felt in this 26,000 year cycle as well. The shifting of the sun is awakening our DNA, as we already know. It's shifting the tectonic plates. It's awakening volcanic activity. It's bringing back species in the seas and on this planet that we haven't seen in probably millions of years. It is affecting everything, every person, every location in a very unique and energetic way, depending on where you are and where the energy is within those other physical things as well. So the sun's not just causing plant life and animal life to come back that hasn't been seen for millions of years. It's also causing us memories and activities and gifts and all kinds of other things that we haven't experienced in millions of years as well within ourselves at an energetic level. The sun is causing us internal balance. And when I say causing, I couldn't think of another word. It's not inviting us to, and I didn't really want to use the word forcing us to, because it's not forcing us to sign up. We signed up for this, we know that. So it's not forcing us to do anything that we are at a cellular level anyway, unaware of. So the sun is causing us to internally balance. And when we internally balance, it doesn't always feel like a picnic. as you already know. The point of balancing, or the point of internal balance, is to push us into making a plan. The point of forcing this internal balance is to push us not only to make a plan, but to take action and bring structure to our lives. Now, when I say bring structure to our lives, I don't mean structure in the sense of 3D structure, because most of us have way more 3D structure than we ever could have wanted, and certainly more internal 3D structure in our lives than we ever needed. Part of society tells us that everything from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep should be structured in a way that is external to us. But with our DNA awakening, it has nothing to do with 3D structure in our external lives, but another kind of restructuring altogether. So restructuring is being forced by the sun in our body at a cellular level, not in the 3D sense of structure, but inviting the higher realms to restructure our physical reality. So we are not being asked to simply restructure people, places, and things in our physical reality. We are being asked to restructure ourselves internally so that we are knowingly and consciously moving by the energy that is available to us within the unlimited potential of the quantum field. So instead of a 3D structuring, like changing, where I live, where I work, that kind of thing, our body, my body, your body, all of our bodies are pulling in the higher dimensions to restructure the cells in our body. And then when we do that, make alterations in our lives, so that our 3D life is a reflection of the energetic we are pulling in from a higher dimension. So if we are always pulling in energy and awareness, consciousness from the unlimited potential of the quantum field, and we understand what that information is, we feel it, whether we can speak it or not, it's the internal structure of that higher dimensional frequency that is funneling down into the physical body that is then asking you to invite that internal structure within your DNA to make alterations in your life. So we've been doing this for many years. The stronger the energy gets, the harder it is for us to stay in anything that's out of alignment. So the last 2 weeks of very high solar frequency is asking us to rebalance, recharge, and recalibrate to the information and to the structure of higher wisdom, and to the structure of that higher wisdom coming from dimensional realms that have a higher frequency than this. Now, you may be somebody that's taking it in. You may be consciously aware that you're taking it in. You may even be aware at a cellular level and at a level that you can verbalize what these changes are, what you're seeing and what you're feeling and what you're hearing. But you have to use that for your highest potential. And if you're not using that for your highest potential, you'll start to notice that things in your 3D physical reality will start to fizzle. You'll have arguments with people that you no longer get along with. Problem working jobs, or staying in a geographical location where you're unhappy. So this is the same thing I've been talking about I feel like harping on for a really long time, but it's important because every time the solar energy or the cosmic energy or the omniversal energy changes outside of us, it changes within us. And so it changes within us to give us a feeling of slight uncomfortability at first. And then that slight uncomfortability just becomes more and more turned up until we change what we are in physical alignment with. Because you can study spiritual knowledge all day long, watch videos and read things all day long. But if you're not using that knowledge, what you're gaining from this higher frequency to maneuver around and make alterations in your physical reality, that uncomfortability will just continue to grow until you do that thing that you know you need to do. Now, I've been talking about, and I know we're all aware of the fact that the energy has been speeding up for a really long time. And one of the reasons it feels like this is because in 3D is the only place we experience time and space. But as we've been becoming multidimensional for the past several years, we're pulling in multidimensional energy. So multidimensional energy does not have a time and space, even though it comes into your physical body and, turns your DNA on, and we acclimate to a new, higher evolutionary, revolutionary energy that changes the patterns of our lives, or we should be allowing it to do that. The frequency of 3D has not changed. And the reason it feels to you like time is speeding up or time is slowing down, depending on what you're doing, is depending on how immersed in the 3D activity you might be. Hopefully this makes sense. So let's say you're sitting down at the table and you're paying bills, and it takes you, 45 minutes or an hour to do this or any kind of chore like this, any kind of menial thing like this. You're going to feel every hour of paying bills, right? Or whatever kind of 3D menial thing you might be doing. But as you're pulling in this higher frequency, even if you are still in a 3D body, even if you are still going about your day in a 3D way, you lose space and time because you're pulling in an energy and a frequency from a space or a place or a vibrational inception point where there is no time and space. So say you're sitting at the table paying bills for an hour, it's going to feel like an hour because you're totally in the space of concentrating on what you're doing. Someone just honked for confirmation. Gotta love that. Must be Saturday night. You'll feel every hour of that thing that you are doing that keeps you anchored in 3D. So it's only things that you're doing that keep you anchored in 3D, that keep you anchored in 3D time and space. That's why I use the example of paying bills. I know most people don't pay bills this way, but even if you're doing it on a computer, you're staying grounded in what you're doing, who that bill's going to, how much it is, whatever. That keeps you in the space where an hour feels like an hour. Now, you could be cooking dinner, and if that to you is not a 3D menial thing, it depends who you are. I love to cook. I could get absolutely lost in cooking. I love other people to experience my cooking. So to me, that is not a 3D thing. And while I'm chopping vegetables and most likely yielding a very sharp knife, I am not entirely and not mostly in the third dimension while I'm cooking. So any activity that you do that keeps you based or rooted in your energy to the third dimension, you will experience normal space and time. when your mind starts to drift, or even your emotions, say you drift into feeling love for someone, you may lose time and space. And you can lose time and space in either direction. So you could be thinking about how much you love someone for 2 minutes, and it could feel like you're there with that person for an hour or 2 hours. So, how we experience time and space right now depends on the space that we are in mentally, vibrationally, while we are still doing 3D things and while we are still experiencing a 3D body, knowing. So we have this incredible higher knowing, this incredible body, mind, spirit, soul connection, awareness that causes us to feel love deeper than we've ever felt it. It causes us to experience joy deeper than we've ever experienced it. So while experiencing other energetic or vibrational connections to other energies or other patterns or other geometric codes, we lose that touch with the 3D time and space. And that's why things get so incredibly weird. So the way your physical body keeps up with time and space is going to change. So, for example, when you first wake up in the morning, right, you're grateful to be alive, you're grateful to be awake, you're grateful for coffee, or at least I know I am. So you've just woke up, so you're kind of out of the dream state, but you never immerse yourself in troubles, or I hope you don't when you first wake up. You should be filled with joy and gratitude. But at different times of the day, when you're doing different things, you have higher frequencies and lower frequencies bouncing in and out of your system all day. It's Saturday night, I guess I feel all right. I forget how that song goes. I thought I'd wait till the ambulance passed by. So we're experiencing time and space. And the experience we have right now in time and space is shifting every few minutes depending on where our thoughts, our emotions, and our physical attention is in that moment. So while paying bills for an hour can really feel like an hour, some things that we do, we can totally lose track of time, and all of a sudden we realize, oh, we've been doing this for 3 hours, I've been doing this for 4 hours. So it's kind of bouncing all over the place. We are supposed to be using this inner knowledge, this inner wisdom, this enlightenment. That's what the solar energy is for: enlightenment, inner power, inner restructuring, so that we can restructure the outer world, both for ourselves at a personal level and in unity consciousness, so we can shift not only this planet, but all the planets in our universe. And then we shift our universe, and then we shift our multiverse, and then we shift our omniverse. And it's like the Juliet set, the Mandelbrot set of infinity when it comes to creation here on this planet and every planet, even though there are many 3D structures and barriers and things that are put in our place or put in place to try to stop us from doing that. And the more powerful we become, and the more powerful this energy is, it's just an infinite communication source between us and the power that is unlimited within the quantum field. So that time thing is going to fluctuate with you all the time. And again, the last 2 weeks of restructuring, the sun is restructuring itself so that it can withstand the higher frequency that's coming through its own portal from all the other suns within this universe and everything else out infinitely in that Mandelbrot set of infinite expansion, which eventually funnels down through our sun into all of sentient life on that planet, on all planets. So the sun is restructuring itself. When the sun restructures itself, it looks like a volcano if you could see it up close. When it restructures, it's almost like volcanic activity, and that's why we have so much incredible rumbling and sunspots and solar flares. I have not been looking at it for the past 2 weeks at all. I have a friend on Facebook who tracks it every single day, and after not looking at it for 2 weeks, I went back and looked at it. So we've had incredible C, M, and even X class flares for 12, 14 days straight now. And again, the sun is restructuring itself so that it can withstand an even higher frequency. Because the sun is no different from us. It has a 3D body. We have a 3D body. If you think back to what the solar energy or vibration or frequency was just even a couple years ago, it was not like it was. And a couple of years ago, our body could not withstand what our body withstood last Monday when we had that X-class solar flare. 5 years ago, we couldn't handle it. Well, the sun can't handle it either. If 5 years ago we were exposed to what we are exposed to just last Monday, the body would explode. And that's, you guys know I'm not saying this in a fearful way, but I'm trying to tell you, we are mimicking the sun, and the sun is also mimicking us. So the sun restructuring is restructuring because of all that high vibrational frequency. Again, the sun has a body, we have a body. For us, we don't see it, right? Because nobody has a microscope or a telescope inside our body and is looking at what happens to us when these energetic happenings come from the sun. But NASA and who knows how many other people are viewing the sun. They are taking pictures of it, and they are getting up close and personal with that. And whether you believe in that or not makes no difference to me. When I say something, I kind of expect people to feel the energy of what I'm saying. If this entire universe is nothing but a holographic projection, the sun is still a physical being. The sun is still restructuring, and the sun itself 5 years ago would have exploded if it had the energy that it got received on Monday. So this other energy coming omniversally down and trickling in multiversally and then universally and then to the solar system and then to planet Earth, it's restructuring its own systemic 3D body appearance, holographic projection. Doesn't matter what stage you are of awareness in here and what you believe it is. Nevertheless, energetically, you can feel what it's doing, and we can witness what it's doing, because at any time in this great day and age, we can turn on YouTube and watch the sun up close and personal if we wanted to. The sun is restructuring like a volcano, and it gets to a certain amount of pressure during that restructuring process, and it has to let that pressure go. Otherwise, the sun would go. So we are mimicking the sun. The sun is also mimicking us. Anything that you know, anything that you are consciously aware of, anything that you are magnetizing or pulling in to your consciousness, to your heart space, is there and serves a real and valiant purpose. The purpose is not to share on Facebook what that knowledge is. And I'm not saying that we don't share, but it's the point of it is not to share it on Facebook. The point of it is not for me to come on here and make a video about it. I'm only doing that because everything that I tell you every single day about my life is the truth. And This is not how I am for 30 minutes or 40 minutes when I turn on the camera. This is how I am. This is how I live, how I breathe, how I eat, how I walk, how I dance, how I pray, how I meditate. This is how I am. So, whoever you are, which is dictated by your frequency and by your state of awareness, should be used. And again, not telling you not to share those things. As you know, I'm sharing these things with you now. But I'm saying the sole point of it is not to share it or not to know it so you can discuss it, or not to know it just so you can help someone else if you're not, in fact, helping yourself. Because the restructuring of the sun to hold more energy is what this conscious awareness is there for you. So, say you're following Teal Swan for years and you resonate with everything she says, and I probably shouldn't have said that name. I don't want to throw people off, whether it's someone you super love or super don't love, whatever, it doesn't matter. Use any example you want. But anybody that you're following and saying, wow, that's really right, that's really accurate, that really matches the vibration of where I am, this energy, this consciousness, this information that you're magnetizing to you. But if you're only sharing it external to yourself and not using it for your own personal alignment, that is where it can become a problem. And by problem, I mean, once you have a certain set of awareness, there are things in your life that need to change. That there are things in your diet or in your relationships or whatever it is that need to change. But you can have all the wisdom in the world. I've talked to hundreds of people that have an amazing conscious awareness of external, and even how that reflection shows them then what is out of alignment and what they need to take care of for themselves. But that doesn't mean that they're doing it. That doesn't mean that they're using it. So, by all means, feel free to share. But the number one, so the way we should be using the awareness, this conscious expandedness, is for it to come in, alter us, for us to understand what that message or what that download or what that set of information is, so that we can course correct. Okay, I know I shouldn't be doing this anymore. I know I shouldn't be connected to that person anymore, whatever it is. And if we know it and don't use it, there's no point in us even knowing it. The energy right now is no longer in practice. The multiverse, the universe, the omniverse is not in a dress rehearsal. This is already happening. So whatever it is that people may be waiting for is already happening. Dress rehearsal has been going on for the last decade, and most specifically from 2019 to 2020. That was dress rehearsal. This is no longer dress rehearsal. So meaning anything within your consciousness that needs changing, realigning, or course correcting that you're not doing will be taken away from you by the universe. And that is never a comfortable thing. I'm not saying that to scare you or whatever. I mean, that's really simple things. If you've had a job that was not matching your frequency for a decade, you wouldn't have been surprised if 3 weeks ago the company downsized or got bought by a different company, or your position was eliminated or something. That would not be a surprise to you. Things like that is what I mean. So when we know something is out of alignment, when we have that conscious expanded awareness, yet don't change or don't realign or don't restructure, that's when we have a problem. Now, the sun does not have this problem because the sun does not have a reptilian brain, right? It has a 3D body or even a holographic body or whatever stage you're at or however you want to look at it. The sun feels the energy and restructures. There's no thought about restructuring. There's no thought about, oh, I don't want to quit this job. Or the sun doesn't say, I don't want to do this job. I don't feel like rolling out 3C class flares, an M class flare, and an X flare today. I just don't feel like it. It just does it automatically. And we should be at the stage where we are also, like the sun, doing this automatically and not thinking about it, not hesitating, not reevaluating, but just knowing I'm not in that place anymore with this geographical location, or I'm not in the place with the family dynamic that's out of alignment. I'm not in the place where my family can tell me what to do. Nobody owns me. Nobody's the boss of me. It's going to be different things for different people, but we're all experiencing the letting go of people, places, and things. That's why I've been talking about it for the last 6 months. We're in the know, and when we're in the know, we must realign and readjust and be like the sun and all of sentient life, who just feels the shift, the change and frequency, and makes the internal shift and doesn't think about it. And I know it's hard, and I know it takes some planning. But that's why I said to you, the shifting sun is causing us to internally balance. And the point of that balance is to push us into making a plan, taking action, and bringing structure to our lives. Not a third dimensional structure, but allowing our internal system to restructure with the new patterns of geometry. This planet, whatever you want to believe, whether it's a flea or it's a holographic projection or it's a physical reality, none of it matters. The thing that matters is that it is moving in space and time. And even if it's nothing but a projected planet on a movie screen, it is still moving because the vibration of the planet is changing. And when the vibration of the planet moves or shifts into another space in the holographic universe, the energy within that new space in the holographic universe has a different frequency. And so every single thing within sentient life is shifting its frequency simultaneously. The human just has a little bit harder time readjusting and going with the flow than the rest of sentient life. And that's because of the reptilian brain. I'm not going to stay on here for very long. This energy is incredibly, incredibly strong. I feel like I say that all the time. I know I say that all the time, but it's only getting stronger all the time. So, this is not a dress rehearsal. This is the real thing. And when that frequency, when that vibration, when that inner momentum within your cells wants to move, but you're disallowing or disinviting or staying stagnant, it doesn't matter how much you know or how much you've read or how much you've watched. If you're not using it practically in your physical life, because the shifting sun is causing us to internal balance. And the point is to push us into taking action, making changes, and diving into us. Who is the new me? Do I want to be old Tina? If I've learned things, if old Tina has learned things, then old Tina needs to move past those things and change into old Tina. Otherwise, all of the information external to me means nothing to me. The dress rehearsal is over. This is the real thing. And so many changes are happening. both within us and without us, both mirroring each other. Um, I left the house the other day. I think it was the day we had the X-Class flare. And people were just really acting nuts. Um, those in a higher frequency were acting nuts in a way that was absolute joy to be around or be behind the line in the grocery store or the gas station or whatever. On that same token, um, we also had the opposite going on as well. So the dress rehearsal was over. Whatever knowledge you have amassed, whatever wisdom you have magnetized, whatever DNA upgrade you have experiencing at a cellular level, this is not a test. It's time to use that wisdom, that knowledge, those DNA upgrades to realign and restructure yourself like the sun is doing. Because this is a very infinite, expanded consciousness that we share between ourselves and the sun. And the sun is showing us, and the sun is telling us that it's time to take action and it's time to restructure to what we've already learned. This is not a test, and you are not being tested by the universe. You are never being tested by the universe. Shiva is not testing you. God is not testing you. Buddha is not testing you. Nothing external from you, nothing outside of you is testing you. If you're experiencing something that feels like a test to you, it feels like a test to you because you set this up. I knew when I got to this point energetically, I was going to change this, or I was going to take a leap of faith, or I was going to go to Hollywood and try to be an actress at 65. Whatever it is that's popping into your reality right now, it's not a dress rehearsal and it's not a test from God. It's not a test from the universe, and it's not a test from anything external to you. If you're seeing it as a test, there is a lesson, there is something that you need to learn, but it is not external to you. So whatever I'm going through right now is not a test from God or the universe or anyone else. It is what I've set up for myself at this time. When this happens energetically, what am I going to do? What do I want to start over with, right? Where do I want to take my life? That's what this is, if you want to look at it as a test. But as long as you look at it as a test, it will appear to be a test. Now, the only thing about that is, you know what happens when you have to take tests, right? You get nervous, or you forget the knowledge that you've studied, or you forget the things that you've learned. So as long as you're looking at life like it's something external from you, testing you, giving you a challenge, seeing if you can make it through, the universe doesn't care what I make it through. God does not care what I make it through. Doesn't mean those things don't exist. That's my job, right? So it's not an external test from anyone or anything or any being or any deity or any energy. The universe is not testing me to change my life. I'm testing me to change my life. I set this up for me. We have to stop giving our power away. Like I said, one, when we talk about the fact with ourselves and with other people that this is a test, it becomes a nervousness, a challenge, an obstacle, something that we have to overcome. It becomes something that we look at as a test. But if we turn around and look at it as, I set this up for myself at this time, at 60 years old, I'm going to go do this. Or you know what? I know I've been hurt a million times by people in relationships. I don't care anymore. I'm going after whatever it is that I want in every aspect of yourself, in every aspect of your life. So while not everybody is at the same point, and each point energetically of information, of wisdom, of downloads hits people at different times. So if it's serving you to believe that God, or if it's serving you to believe that the universe is testing you, if that makes you more motivated, more inspired, whatever it is, then you're still in the place where you need that. But I don't think most of you are. Most of you are in the place where we don't need to tell ourselves, okay, that this is some time to be nervous, some time to be nervous about taking some, kind of step or overcoming some sort of obstacle. Dress rehearsal is over, okay? And the rest of these external things in reality, these beautiful things that are in the process of happening, will happen faster if we say, here's what I've learned. I'm going to take what I've learned so I can realign. I'm going to take what I've learned so I can course correct myself and my life and go after whatever it is that's joy. I'm going to go after whatever it is that's peace. And I can tell you, I've been doing tarot readings professionally for 13 months. And there's definitely a repeating theme in the tarot. And that is, most people are not looking at me with, their mouth open and their eyes real wide and saying, wow, that's all so shocking. It's more like, I was aware that that was going on, and they may not logistically, I may provide some understanding into how not making that change affects their life in positive and negative ways, and how making the change they should make affects their life in very positive ways. But none of these things were shocking to the last 150 people that had readings, because you're at the stage where you understand that you've amassed a great amount of vibrational frequency within you that is way different than what you've ever had within you in the last couple years. You've gained the wisdom and the knowledge and the clarity to realign yourself like the sun, restructure yourself, and course correct yourself with that higher understanding. Because as the sun was showing me today, that without bubbling up and making those changes and sending off those solar flares, it would be too much energy for the sun to handle. So you having the information and not making the course correction is too much for your body to handle. And the most important thing I've learned from tarot readings for the last year and a half is the most important thing, period, in a physical avatar right now is being in peace. And a lot of people have money, and a lot of people have relationships, and a lot of people have good jobs, and a lot of people have big families. But within those dynamics, they don't necessarily have peace. And we will never reach further stages of joy and ascension if we don't have peace. Because if you have the knowledge and the higher understanding of the shift that you should be moving into, but again, maybe you're waiting, maybe you're not ready, maybe you're scared, maybe you're anxious, maybe you're all these things. But those things are keeping you from a state of peace. And peace is more important than your job, than your money. And I'm not saying, yes, I know we have bills to pay, etc., etc. But you already have the tools. You are already the magic maker. You know how to make money. Making money is one thing. Abundance is a completely separate thing. You can work on 7 individual areas of your life. You can work on your relationship, you can work on your job, you can work on your bank account, you can work on your stock portfolio, or you can work on your vibration and get into realignment and course correction with your soul and the wisdom that you now carry due to these upgrades. And you can work on that one thing, and that one thing changes everything. Being in alignment, getting in course correction with your soul within this solar energy will change your stock portfolio. It'll change your relationship dynamics. It'll change your family dynamics. It'll change how you work with people, it'll change everything. So you can work on 6 or 7 different areas in your life, which is a lot of work, or you can assimilate to the knowledge you already know. You can course correct one thing right here, and every area of your life will alter itself. This is not a dress rehearsal. If you're looking at the sun, if you're watching the sun, and I don't mean watching it on YouTube, if you're feeling it, if you're paying attention to how it's making you feel, or the changes in your sight, or the changes in your clairaudience, or any of the other changes you're experiencing, you know the sun is restructuring. You know what's happening. You know what's going to continue to happen, and you know what the crescendo is. Well, your body is the same way. Okay. And you may think that you can, wait for, and it's your choice. You can wait forever to restructure your life. But I just ask you then, what is the point of the higher knowledge? What is the point of watching videos or reading books or studying or talking to people about an expanded consciousness if you're not using that expanded conscious awareness to course correct to whatever is happy you? You're the only person that has the soul map. You're the only person that knows what course correction is for you. I can't tell you course correction for you is totally different than course correction for me. Maybe. I don't know. But this internal piece is so important because you can, in the 3D realm, feel like, or on paper, that you have everything that a person in a physical body, on a physical planet, would ever need. But then ask yourself why so many people are using drugs or alcohol, or so many people are fantasizing about someone that they're not with, or fantasizing about a location they don't geographically live in, or fantasizing about being on stage, or being a singer, or being a dancer, whatever it is. The reason you're fantasizing about those other things is because you don't have what you want, right? I don't have everything I want, but my energy is open to receiving all those things that I do want. And my energy is not going into things that I don't want. I don't spend time on the phone talking to people in personal conversations about the things that are going on in my life that I don't want. Now, occasionally that comes up, and that's part of being in a body. We do that. But the majority of my energy is going into, where would I love to be? What would I love to do? Who would I love to be with? That's where the majority of all of my energy goes. Constantly. Because this, again, you're not being tested by God. You are not being tested by the universe. That is so giving your power away. And again, if you are at the space where that helps you, that motivates you, that inspires you, but think about it this way for just a second. I'm not saying that any of those things don't have a play in what we experience right now, because they certainly do. But take your power back for a second and say, okay, I knew when I came in this time that I was going to experience this, and this, and I really wanted to experience these people, these places, these things. And then when I meet that person, or I see that location, or I experience that bliss, that joy on a cellular level, when that's the thing I've chosen, it's such a different experience than saying, God is testing me. The universe is testing me to see what I'll do. You set this test up for yourself. It's you, it's your higher self that wants to see what you're going to do. All those beings external talking to you interdimensionally, extraterrestrially, however, wherever they come from, they're all pieces of you. They start out external to you because initially you wouldn't believe that you yourself were a fractal from some oversoul group from the omniverse that sent yourself here on a bridge to the future so that you could make alterations and course corrections in the moment of now, but also through the Akashic record of all time. That might be a bit much for you to experience, but that's what I have experienced from my higher self from 2018 up until now. I am the one that set my course correction. I am the one that sent myself here. And I got to tell you, if you guys have never had that experience, that was the most amazing experience I've ever had in my entire life. I was standing or sitting in my kitchen writing. I had an experience of myself as a light being, having a group conversation or meeting with a group of light beings who had never incarnated into a physical body. And they look like a kind of like an outline of a ghost, but they're all lit up like 8-pointed stars or something, like Merkabahs with a sheet over them. I don't know any other way to describe that. Sorry. But I knew it was me and that oversoul group. We were making a plan to come in here to do this thing, which we are so deep and so far into doing right now. It's amazing. But I saw that time when I had chosen to send myself here across the bridge. And the amazing thing is when I saw that light body make that plan with some of you on the other side of the omniverse, I was blown away. And what happened was when I saw that light being, my other self standing there, it set off like a bell, like a ding. And then it dinged back in my body like ding. And then it went ding, 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 back and forth between me and my recognition. Because in that wherever I was, 33rd dimension or whatever, there is no time or space. So it dinged between my body and that light body several times until there was a resonant bridge between that future self that sent me here and the self that is now here. And I was like, oh my gosh, I did this. I sent myself here. I knew exactly what I was doing when I sent myself here. Not a dress rehearsal, not a test from the universe. Everything that you're experiencing now, you set up to experience right now so that you could make a course correction. And your only reason for course correction is peace and joy. What does it feel like when you're so stressed out from your current living situation or your current job situation or whatever it is that keeps you awake at night, pacing in the kitchen at 2 a.m. or out looking at the stars on the back deck at 5 o'clock in the morning? There has to be peace. We want peace on earth. We expect peace on earth. We will get peace on earth. But as the song says, let there be peace on earth and let it begin with me, because there's no peace external to you if there's no peace internal to you. So if you can't sleep because your life is not joyous and your life is not peaceful, that's what you need to shift. That's what you need to change. Because as long as you can't sleep at night, or as long as you need alcohol or drugs or pretend relationships with people that don't exist, or people that, whatever, as long as you need, and I'm not talking about higher dimensional things bleeding through, but I've made way too many videos about that to go into that. I'm saying if you need drugs, if you need alcohol, if you're already with one person but fantasizing about another, all of those things are telling you you don't have inner peace and you need course correction. We all need it. We can know these things for many years before we actually decide to make any changes. I'm aware of that too. And sometimes I feel like I'm saying things in a way that can't be comprehended or won't be understood, or maybe I'm just reiterating or harping on something that's not important. But it is important because I know you guys. And even if I don't know you individually, I know the soul wave. I know the soul frequency. I know the soul carrier wave that we are riding on. And you, if you are having a fantasy life, okay, I'm a single person. If I have a fantasy life, that's fine. That doesn't mean I need to course correct because I'm having a fantasy life about what I'm going to plant in the garden, or, who I'm going to be with at Christmas time, or whatever it is, right? That's called manifesting. What I'm saying is if you already have a job, but you're dreaming about another job already all the time, or you already have a husband but you're dreaming about having a different husband all the time, or a different job all the time, or a different geographical location all the time, that's when you need course correction. When you don't already have that thing and you're dreaming about it and you're tapping into the unlimited potential of the quantum field in regards to that situation, that is manifesting. When you already have that and it's not working for you and you can't sleep at night and you don't feel peace but expect peace in the outside world, that's when you know it's time for course correction. And I think that's it. And if you want to see something really funny, I never sit on this side of the table. I rearranged my dining room a little bit with the help of my sister and a friend today. Came over to help me do some things. I'm on a restricted, limited activity for pretty much everything right now. So I had some help today. But anyway, here's almost 52-year-old Tina, and here's 1978 Tina. As you can see, not a whole lot has changed. It's funny, I just realized that was there. So anyway, there's me and there's my twin me, however many years ago that was. 43? I don't know. Something. But anyways, we look the same. I love you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being strong. And none of these things are easy. This course correction for me has not been easy, but I always try to show it to you through what I get from the collective, because I hear the collective and feel the collective, and also what comes through readings in an impersonal way, or what the sun is telling me it's doing or showing me that it's doing, because that's what every single one of us are going through. I don't want to get on here and just start talking about myself all day long, right? That'd be boring and no one would watch. So thank you for being here. And I know it's not easy. I know. There's a very strong energy at the end of this 26,000 year cycle of needing to self-soothe. And we self-soothe ourselves in healthy and unhealthy ways. We could be exercising, we could be drinking, we could be doing drugs. There's a million ways to self-soothe, whatever makes you feel good. Okay, it could be Cheetos and Netflix, not making any judgment. But that self-soothing comes from missing a peace and harmony in your life. And everything in moderation is healthy. Of course, exercise is healthy. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with eating dinner and watching TV either. What I am saying is we could be spending a little bit too much time in an external, dreamy, fantasy reality because our reality is not the reality that we would choose for ourselves. So I don't mean to be preachy, but maybe you could give yourself like 2 minutes, close your eyes, and say, take away your restrictions, take away your marital status, take away your financial status, take away your family dynamics, take away your abuse or your hardship or any limitation that you've ever had. Clear it for 2 minutes and close your eyes and say, if I was physically, spiritually, emotionally, and mentally clear and stable and could have anything that I wanted tomorrow, what would I have? Take away all your restrictions just for 2 minutes. Like I said, take it all away. Marital status, job, geographical location, family, everything. Your past, your trauma, take it all away for 2 minutes. Clear your mind and tell yourself, this is a really good exercise, and I've asked several people to do this through readings. Sometimes it's hard for us to get past our limiting thoughts or the things that have happened to us. So here's what I suggest. Let's say tonight you bought a lottery ticket. Tomorrow night you win the lottery, whatever amount it is. You can tell yourself whatever amount that makes you comfortable to change your life so that you can be joyous and be peaceful. Tell yourself that lottery ticket you bought was a winner, and ask yourself, okay, tomorrow I have $20 million or whatever it is. For me, it's like 10,000, whatever. I don't need that much. But ask yourself, tomorrow, if I won $20 million, what would I change in my life if I didn't have to worry about anything again? That's what you need to change. Whatever pops into your mind, if I had $20 million and won the lottery ticket, whatever that is, that you know brings you joy and brings you peace, and that you would want to do, that you would want to have, that you would want to be. Wow, 102, 3, 4. That's your course correction. If you won $20 million tomorrow, think about what you would do tomorrow, not with the money, but with your life. Okay. And that's what you should be doing. And no, it's not impossible, because we're all on this amazing wave of manifestation. Okay. Whatever you would do, however you would live, however you would breathe, however you would love, whatever chances you would take, if you won $20 million, that's your course correction. Start living in your course correction. Start winning like you are. Freudian slip. Start course correcting like you, yourself, your body, your energy, your ability to heal yourself, your ability to heal this planet. That's your lottery ticket. That's why you came here. We know we came here to heal this planet, but we also know the healer must heal thyself before we heal the kingdom, before we heal the planet, the universe, the multiverse, and the omniverse. It starts here. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. If you cannot go to sleep at night or stay asleep at night, you need to think about that. You need to close your eyes, pretend you won the lottery, and ask yourself what you would do, what you would change about yourself, and what you would change about your life if you felt free, and get into the energy of feeling free and change your course and create a new reality. I love you. And until next time. And if you made it to the end, happy birthday, Libra.